Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahavidyan Karava Vahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Chaiva Tato Jayamudirayet. Very good. Excuse me. Welcome back. So, we move ahead in our text. We've actually spent almost 1 year going through the Aranyaka Parva. And notice 299 chapters, and of course we've only seen selected chapters. We can make a bad joke here. If we were to study the entire Aranyaka Parva, it would probably take us as long as they spent in the forest. We could spend 12 years studying those 299 chapters. Anyway, we've studied some selected chapters. The next chapter in the Mahabharata is called the Virata. I shouldn't say chapter, book. The next book in the Mahabharata is the Virata Parva. Virata is the name of the king in whose kingdom the Pandavas stayed incognito, in hiding, for 1 year. So 12 years in the forest, and 1 year in disguise, hiding out, as it were, in the kingdom of the king of Virat, the king whose name was Virata. I went through the entire chapter and didn't find much that lent itself to teaching. So our focus here is on Vedantic teachings, not on the story. So, with your permission, we'll skip over the chapter. As you know, basically they're in hiding. They all take a different disguise. You all know the story anyway. The significance, of course, is at the very end of that 1 year, they are discovered. And Duryodhana mounts an attack upon them in Virata, and Duryodhana is defeated by them. So the army of Virata, with the support of the Pandavas, not surprisingly, the Pandavas were crucial in that victory. So the king of Virata, with the support of the Pandavas, was able to defeat Duryodhana's army, which came to attack. And with that, the Virata Parva comes to an end, leading to the next Parva, the next book of the Mahabharata, which is the Udyoga Parva. You see it's also quite lengthy at 197 chapters. Mostly the contents of the Udyoga Parva are the preparations for war, is mostly what we're going to see. The negotiations, you can... Nowadays we have the United Nations, so they didn't have United Nations at that time, but they certainly did have a lot of negotiations going on. So a lot of negotiations are in the Udyoga Parva, also the preparations for war. And there are several episodes in that Udyoga Parva which lend themselves for our discussion here in this class, including this chapter 7. It's the famous chapter in which Arjuna and Duryodhana both go to Sri Krishna to get his support. So before the war takes place, they're like choosing up sides. When you were a child, I don't know, and you're going to play some sports game, you choose up sides, which kids are going to be on this side, which kids are going to be on that side. Well, they're doing that not with children, with entire kingdoms. Which kingdom will be allied on one side to the Pandavas? Which kingdoms will be allied to the Kaurava side? And Sri Krishna was the king of a great kingdom with a great war, a great army. And so both Arjuna and Duryodhana were desirous of Sri Krishna's support in the war that was about to take place, and that's what we're going to see in chapter 7. Mostly it's story, and I hope it's okay. Through the story we'll go through real quickly, because we want to spend time on the symbolism of Arjuna's choice, and especially the symbolism of Sri Krishna being Arjuna's charioteer. That's all in this chapter. We'll see how far we get today. So let us begin. Vaishampayano vacha, Vaishampayano Tau yatva purusha vyagrao, Tau yatva purusha Dwarakam kurunandanao, Dwarakam Supta dadrashutu Krishnam, Suptam dadrashutu Shayanam chopa jagmatuhu, Shayanam chopa. Tau, those two, Kuru Nandanao, those two descendants of King Kuru, who were Purusha Vyagrao, lions among people. Which two are we talking about? Arjuna and Duryodhana, those two. So those two, Arjuna and Duryodhana, Yatva, having gone, Dwarakam, to Dwaraka, Sri Krishna's kingdom. And there, the Drishatuhu, they saw, for our Sanskrit students, dual number. The Drishatuhu, they saw Krishnam, Suptam, asleep. So when they arrived, very, very typical, allow me to make this comment, difference between American culture and Indian culture. In American culture, if you're going to visit someone, you must phone and let them know you're coming. This is American culture. In India, you just show up. Yeah. And that's exactly what Duryodhana and Arjuna do. They just show up unannounced at Krishna's palace. Of course, the really interesting factor is they chose to come at the same time. How improbable is that? But that's the way it turned out. They both accidentally showed up unannounced at Sri Krishna's palace at exactly the same time. Being unannounced, they arrive when Sri Krishna is sleeping. And Shayanam cha upajagmatuhu. Upajagmatuhu. They both approached Shayanam, Sri Krishna's bed. And then Tata Shayane Govinde, Tata Shayane Pravivesha Suyodhanaha, Praviveshe Uchirshataschcha Krishnasya, Uchirshataschcha Krishna Vishasada Virasane, Vishasada Virasane. Tataha, then Suyodhanaha. And Suyodhana is a synonym for Duryodhana, which is odd because the meanings are opposite. But actually they mean the same person, but the compounds have to be understood differently. Duryodhana is one who's difficult to defeat in Yodhana, in war. One who's difficult to conquer in war is Duryodhana. Suyodhana is not one who's easy to conquer in war. So it means one who is skillful in war. So even though on the surface they look like they have opposite meanings, they both refer to the same person. Duryodhana, the one who is difficult to conquer. Suyodhana, the one who is skillful in war. So Suyodhana, what did he do? Pravivesha, he came, he approached. What did he approach? Govinde Shayane. She approached Sri Krishna lying on his bed. Sri Krishna lying on his bed, Duryodhana goes and approaches. And what's significant here, you'll see in just a couple more verses, is he approaches first, before Arjuna. There's some significance you'll see as we go on. And having approached the bed, what does he do? Uchirshataha cha Krishnasya. Uchirshataha. At the Uchirshas is the head. At the head, Krishnasya of Krishna means at the head of Krishna's bed. Duryodhana Nishashada, he sat Varasane, on a nice chair, nice comfortable chair. He goes and sits at the head of Krishna's bed. Now, you're going to see a distinct contrast with Arjuna. So have in your mind this picture of Duryodhana sitting in a comfortable chair at the head of Sri Krishna's bed. What does Arjuna do? Tata kiriti tasyanu, tata kiriti tasyan, pravivesha mahamanaha, pravivesha paschardhe chasa krishnasya, paschardhe chasa prahvotishtad kritanjalihi, prahvotishtad kritanjalihi. Tataha, then, tasya anu, after him, after Duryodhana, kiriti refers to Arjuna. Arjuna is wearing a big crown, so kiriti refers to Arjuna. Arjuna, what did Arjuna do? Pravivesha, he also entered. And Arjuna here is called Mahamanaha. He is called one who is very wise. Why is he wise? To use Puja Swamiji's joke, because Duryodhana is otherwise. Arjuna is a wise one. Duryodhana is the other wise one. Duryodhana is sitting in his comfortable chair at the head of Sri Krishna's bed. What does Arjuna do? Pravivesha, he enters, he approaches. Paschardhe, at the foot. Sri Krishna's, at the foot of Sri Krishna's bed. Saha, Arjuna approaches at the foot of Sri Krishna's bed. And atishtat, he stands there. He doesn't sit, he stands there. Prahvaha, bent over, kritanjalihi, with his hands folded. So this is Mahamanaha Arjuna, the wise one, who recognizes Sri Krishna's divinity. It was very interesting. We've missed, admittedly, we've skipped over huge sections of the story. And in those sections of the story, we would learn that Arjuna saw and recognized Sri Krishna's divinity. He saw, for example, Sri Krishna exercising some spiritual or unusual powers. What's really significant is Duryodhana witnessed the same things. In fact, this goes a little bit like our meditation session. Arjuna and Duryodhana saw the same Sri Krishna. Arjuna saw an embodiment of divinity, and Duryodhana didn't. They saw the same person. Sri Krishna could understand this is an embodiment of divinity. Arjuna is Mahamanas, one who's very wise. Duryodhana, interesting, when Duryodhana witnessed some of Sri Krishna, in fact, there's an earlier Vishwarupa. We talk about the Vishwarupa Darshana, of course, in the Bhagavad Gita. Sri Krishna revealing his cosmic form. Well, it happens not only in the Bhagavad Gita, it happens, I think, a total of 4 times in the whole Mahabharata. So it's taken place at least once before this time. And Duryodhana witnessed Sri Krishna's cosmic form. Duryodhana thought that Sri Krishna was a pretty good magician. Really? He just thought it was a good trick. And failed to acknowledge Sri Krishna's divinity. Failing to recognize Sri Krishna's divinity, what will Duryodhana do? go and sit at the head of Sri Krishna's bed in a nice comfortable chair. In my mind is an image. If you're sitting in a chair facing the bed, most people don't like to sit like this. I have this, especially a big, powerful warrior. I have this image. It doesn't say this in the text. I have this image of Duryodhana propping up his feet on Sri Krishna's bed, inches away from Krishna's head. It doesn't say that in the text. It's just my image. This is what I envision. So Duryodhana is like this at the head of Krishna, and Arjuna is at the foot of the bed, bent over in a prayerful way. So this is the setting when Sri Krishna wakes up. Then what happens? Pratibuddha savarshneyo, pratibuddha savarsh, dadarshagre kiritinam, dadarshagre kiri. Satayo swagatam kritva, satayo swagat. Yatarham pratipujyacha, yatarham pratipujyacha. Saha varshneyaha, that Sri Krishna, what did he do? Pratibuddhaha, he woke up. And agre, the words dadarsha, agre, have to be separated. Agre, first, the darsha, he saw. So imagine him laying in bed. When you wake up, you sit up. So when Sri Krishna sits up in bed, his back is facing Duryodhana, and his face is towards Arjuna. So agre, first, the darsha, he saw. Kiritinam, he saw Arjuna, who was wearing the crown. Saha, he, Sri Krishna, tayoho swagatam kritva, having done swagatam, greeting, tayoho, of both. So having greeted them both, and yata arham pratipujyacha, and having done some formal honoring them according to the rule. So they're both princes of powerful kingdoms. So Sri Krishna is not going to say, "Hi, how are you doing?" But in a more formal way, he greets both Krishna and Duryodhana. And tadagamana hetum, tadagamana Prapachamadusudanaha, prapachasmadus, tato Duryodhana Krishnam, tato Duryodhana, uvacha prahasanniva, uvacha prahasan. Madhusudana, Sri Krishna, one of his many names, prapacha, he asked the hetum, the reason, Tadagamanajam, the reason for their arrival. Why have you come? So they didn't phone up. They didn't announce their arrival in advance. They just showed up. So Sri Krishna asks, why have you come? Tataha, then Duryodhanaha, what did he do? Uvacha, he said, Krishnam, he said to Sri Krishna, and he spoke to Sri Krishna, prahasan eva, with a little smile on his lips. Why does he have a little smile on his lips? He's got a plan. What is his plan? He arrives first. And whoever comes first is going to get Sri Krishna's support. That's his thinking. Duryodhana thinks, I got here first, and I'm asking first. Therefore, Sri Krishna is going to give me his support. And therefore Duryodhana is smiling as he asks, Duryodhana vacha, Duryodhana vacha, aham cha bigata purvam, aham cha bigata tvamadya madhusudana, tvamadya vigrahesmin bhavan sahyam, vigrahesmin Mama datumi harhati, mama datumi har. Aham, I, abhigataha purvam tvam, to you, purvam abhigataha, cha abhigataha, I, abhigataha, arrived, purvam, before him. I got here first. Adya, today, Madhusudana, O Krishna, today I arrived first. This is Duryodhana's thinking. And therefore, he concludes, asmin vigrahe, asmin, in this vigrahe, in this war, in the battle that's about to take place, bhavan, you, datum, should give, mama, to me, sahyam. You should give your support to me. Iha, here, arhati, you should. Datum arhati, you should give, mama, to me. You should give sahyam, you should give me your support. Why? Because I got here first. This is Duryodhana's argument. Krishnu vacha, Krishnu, tava purvabhi gamanat, tava purvabhi, purvam chapyasya darshanat, purvam chapyasya sahayamubayhoreva, sahayamubayhor, karishyami suyodhana, karishyami suyodhana. So, I'm smiling just thinking about how complicated families are. So Sri Krishna is in this really tricky situation. So they're all related to each other. He's like an uncle to them, and he kind of wants to help them both. But he has to, if Sri Krishna is going to help them both, he's going to have to do it in a politically correct manner. So here's his political correctness. He addresses Duryodhana, and he says, Tava purva abhigamana. He says, for you have come first. Purva abhigamana. Duryodhana, you came first. But, cha api, in the second line, but also, asya, for him, for Arjuna, purvam darshana. I saw him first. You arrived first. You were first in arrival, but Arjuna was the first one to be seen by me. So Sri Krishna is pretty smart. He knows how to manipulate the situation. So he says, Duryodhana, yes, I understand you got here first, so you're first with regard to arrival, but Arjuna is first with regard to being seen. Arjuna was the first one to be seen by me. Therefore, ubayoho eva sahayam. Ubayoho eva, for both of you. Sahayam, help, support. Karishyami, I will give support to both of you. Suyodhana or Duryodhana, I will give support to both of you because you were both first. Now, if he's going to give support to both, how is he going to do that? And that's what's going to be explained here. So, actually, I need to skip ahead, and you know the story well. So what Lord Krishna is about to do is offer one of them his vast army. We'll see that, by the way, in another verse or two. He's about to offer this vast army to one of them, and he's going to offer himself alone to the other. So one will get Sri Krishna alone, and the other will get Sri Krishna's entire army. But now the issue is, who gets what? And who's going to choose what? Who's going to choose first? This is the issue. Who gets first choice? The choices are Krishna versus Krishna's army. But now the question that Sri Krishna has to settle is who gets first choice? And he handles this in a most clever way. Pravaranam tu bhalanam, pravaranam tu Purvam karyameti shutihi. Purvam karyameti tasmat pravaranam purvam. Tasmat pravaranam arha partho dhananjayaha. Arha partho. So, Sri Krishna is quoting a scripture. A scripture, Shutihi, a scripture that says, Balanam, for the younger, Pravadanam, to, goes the preference. Meaning what? Pravadanam means preference, and here in this context it means first choice. So Balanam, for the younger, youngers are given preference. That's true, seems to be in ancient times, in different cultures all over the world. Younger ones are always given the preferential treatment. Turns out that Duryodhana is older than Arjuna. In fact, Duryodhana was also first in birth. He came first, and he was born first. But here, being first is a problem because pravadanam, preference, first choice, goes to balanam, goes to the younger ones. Iti, thus, shutihi, thus in the scriptures it said that purvam karyam, that this is to be done first. What is to be done first? That preference is to be given to the younger. Tasmat, therefore, purvam pravadanam, first choice is arhaha, deserved. And who deserves first choice? Partha, Arjuna, Dhananjaya. Arjuna deserves first choice because he is younger. At which point Duryodhana is pretty depressed. Is going to end up happy, but at this point he's pretty depressed because he thinks his army is slipping out of his grasp. Now Sri Krishna is going to detail the options, the choices. Sri Krishna says, Mat samhanana tulyanam, mat samhanana tul gopanam arbudam mahata, gopanam arbudam. Teva yudhi duradharsha, teva yudhi duradharsha, bhavantye kasya sainikaha, bhavantye kasya sain. Look at the last line. Ekasya, for one of you, ekasya, for one of you, bhavanti, there will be sainikaha, my army. Sainika means army. For one of you can have my army. My army, what kind of army? In the second line, Gopanam. Interesting. An army of cowherds. That's what it says. An army of cowherds. Now you're thinking, come on. What good is an army? Because what does Sri Krishna comes from? A farming country, cattle country. So he says, one of you can have my army of cowherds, but these are not ordinary cowherds. In the first line, they are mat samhanana tulyanam. They're samhanana. In killing, samhanana means killing. They are tulya. They have the equivalent power, mat, to me. They are as powerful as I am in killing. Mat samhanana tulya. They are as capable in killing as I am. Not only that, but this sainikam, this army of Arjuna, of Sri Krishna, is mahat, big. Not just big, vast. How vast? Arbudam. Arbudam is a number. It's a particular number. It's 10 crore. Now, 10 crore is 100 million. Now, I don't think that's meant to be taken literally, because there were no armies of that size, and there is no possibility of an army of that size. But I think that number, Arbudam, 100 million, 10 crore, is used suggestively. It's a vast army. It's an army of cowherds, but not ordinary cowherds. Cowherds, which Sri Krishna says, are as powerful as I am. They are duradharshaha. They are impossible to defeat, yudhi, in battle. They are unconquerable in battle. And ekasya, for one of you, bhavanti sainikaha, all of these warriors are there for one of you. What about for the other one? Ayudhyamana sangrame, ayudhyamana nyasta shastroham ekataha, nyasta shastroham tadvranitam bhavanagre, tadvranitam bhavan pravaryastvam hi dharmataha, pravaryastvam hi dharmataha. Second line, ekataha, at the end, for the other one of you, ekataha, for the other one of you, aham, I will be, so for one of you, you can have this army of cowherds, but ekataha, for the other one of you, aham, I will be there for the other of you, but with some conditions. Nyasta shastraha, without weapon. Nyasta means set aside. I will be with you unarmed. Not only unarmed, but sangrame, in combat, ayudhyamanaha, I won't fight. I will be with you nyasta shastraha, without being armed, without weapons, and ayudhyamanaha, without fighting, sangrame. And this choice goes first to whom? To Arjuna. So Arjuna gets to choose between this vast, powerful army and Sri Krishna alone, unarmed and not fight. And Sri Krishna says to Arjuna, Bhavan, you, Arjuna, agre, first, tadvranitam, you should choose first. You have first choice, Arjuna. Why? Twamhi, because you, pravaryaha, because you are given preferential treatment, dharmataha, according to dharma, according to convention, according to scripture, younger goes first. So Arjuna, you can choose first. Who will Arjuna choose? You already know, but we'll see how this is all, of course, explained by the narrator, Vaishampayana. Vaishampayano vacha, Vaishampayana evam muktastu Krishnena, evam muktastu Krishna. Kunti putro dhananjayaha, kunti putro ayudhyamanam sangrame, ayudhyamanam varayamasa keshavam, varama. In the second line, Kunti putraha dhananjayaha, Arjuna, the son of Kunti. What about him in the first line? Evam uktaha, being addressed thus, Krishnena, by Krishna, having been spoken to by Krishna in this way. Who did he choose then? In the last line, Varayamasa, he chose. Who did he choose? Keshavam. He chose Krishna. Even though ayudhyamanam sangrame, even though sangrame, in battle, Sri Krishna would be ayudhyamanam, he would not fight. Even though Krishna wouldn't fight in battle, Arjuna chose him. Duryodhana. So what do you think Duryodhana thought? Interesting. Duryodhana, when Arjuna was given first choice, Duryodhana's heart sank until Arjuna chose. So Arjuna chose the one who Duryodhana thought was a good magician, good at tricks. And in Duryodhana's mind, what use is magic on a battlefield. This is in Duryodhana's mind. So Duryodhana is elated that Arjuna has chosen Sri Krishna, and that's expressed in this verse. Duryodhanastu tat sainyam, Duryodhanastu tat sarvam hadaya parthivaha, sarvam hadaya parthiva, Krishnam chapahritam nyatva, Krishnam chapahritam samprapa paramamudam, samprapa paramamudam. Duryodhana too, on the other hand, so Arjuna, having chosen Sri Krishna, too, now, on the other hand, Duryodhana, what did he do? He adaya. He accepted, by the way, Duryodhana, who is Parthivaha, he's a prince, he's a king, really a prince. So Prince Duryodhana, what did he do? Adaya. He received what? Sarvam tat sainyam, the entire army of Sri Krishna. Duryodhana adaya, he received that, he took the entire army, and in the last line, samprapa, he became paramamudam, he became extremely happy. He became delighted. Why was he delighted? Jnatva, thinking that Krishnam was apahritam, defeated. Thinking that Krishna was as good as defeated, because Duryodhana already had a considerable army, and now to his considerable army, he is adding the army of Sri Krishna, and Duryodhana calculates in his mind that his army, supported by the army of Sri Krishna, he was absolutely going to be victorious in battle. And Arjuna, even with Sri Krishna's support, Arjuna and Krishna didn't stand a chance. So Duryodhana was delighted. Now, we have to find out, now comes the symbolism. We have to get into that. Gate Duryodhane Krishna, Gate Duryodhane Krishna, Kiriti namatha bravit, Kiriti namatha. Ayudhyamana kambuddhim, Ayudhyamana kambuddhim, Asthayaham tvaya vritaha, Asthayaham tvaya vritaha. Gate Duryodhane, after Duryodhana left. So Duryodhana, which means what? Duryodhana didn't hang around for a cup of tea. Duryodhana got what he wanted, and he's, nice American expression, he's, in fact, New Jersey expression, he's out of there. He left, no tea. So, Gate Duryodhane, after Duryodhana left, Krishna abravit, Sri Krishna then asked Kiritinam, Arjuna. He then asked Arjuna a question. What was the question? Kam buddhim, with what attitude? To translate it into English, it'd be like, it's idiomatic. Kam buddhim in good English. What were you thinking? It was a good translation. Kam buddhim, what were you thinking when Kam buddhim asthaya? Based on what thinking? Based on what thinking? Aham vritaha, I was chosen, tvaya, by you, Arjuna. Based on what thinking was I chosen by you, ayudhyamanaha, even though I wouldn't fight? So what were you thinking? Based on what thinking did you choose me, knowing that I wouldn't fight on the battle? Now, Arjuna vacha, Bhavan samarthasthan sarvan, bhavan samarthasthan nihantum natra samshayah, nihantum natra sam bhavanstu kirti maloke, bhavanstu kirti maloke, tadyashastvam gamishyati, tadyashastvam gamishyati. So Arjuna being asked, what were you thinking? What made you choose me? Sri Krishna says, knowing that I wouldn't fight, why did you choose me? And Arjuna lays it right out. He says, Bhavan, you, Sri Krishna, you are samarthaha, you are capable, tan sarvan nihantum, you are capable, nihantum, to kill tan sarvan, all of them. You have the power, you have the capacity to kill all of them. Na atra samshayaha, there's no doubt about this. You have the capacity to kill them all. This is clearly demonstrating the fact that Arjuna recognized Sri Krishna's divinity. And so now we can start to see some of the symbolism of the story. So, in the world, a great number of people are incapable of recognizing Ishvara's reality in any way whatsoever. There's a great number of atheists in the world and others who simply refuse to accept the existence of a power greater than themselves, and failing to recognize a power greater than themselves, they fail to recognize the law of dharma established by that Ishvara. You see, when you negate Ishvara, you also negate the dharma, the laws established by that Ishvara. So those then who deny the existence of Ishvara and deny the existence of laws of dharma that dictate for your harmful deeds, you will suffer undesirable consequences. So these people refuse to acknowledge the existence of an Ishvara. They also refuse to acknowledge that for their harmful behavior, they will suffer negative consequences. Refusing to acknowledge any of that, how do such people behave? That's part of the problem we see. So, Duryodhana is such a person who, first of all, is incapable of seeing the divinity of Sri Krishna, and further, and perhaps more significantly, incapable of having his behavior guided by principles of dharma. Duryodhana is one who consistently ignores principles of dharma. He does what is in his own best interest, ignoring the consequences for everyone else. So this is Duryodhana's problem. Arjuna, on the other hand, represents, here's the symbolism, Arjuna represents all those who understand the existence of someone bigger than we are, a force, a power that is bigger than us. And not only that force or power, of course, is Ishvara. Not only that, though, but an Ishvara who is the karma pala data, the giver of the fruits of actions, which means an Ishvara who will ensure that your harmful deeds are met with undesirable consequences for you. So as karma pala data, Ishvara ensures that we would receive suffering in return for our harmful deeds. Arjuna recognizes this. Arjuna recognizes the divinity of Sri Krishna. Arjuna recognizes the primacy of dharma, as opposed to Duryodhana, who fails to recognize either. So symbolically, Arjuna and Duryodhana represent two different categories of people. This is one of the lovely things about the Mahabharata, where you can see in a story the symbolism is so clear and obvious. Arjuna representing, in American English, the nice expression I have, God-fearing people, like that. Not exactly fear, but those who recognize that there is a power greater than you and me. So Arjuna recognizes that, and Arjuna represents all those who have that recognition. Duryodhana then representing all those who fail to acknowledge a power greater than them, and all those who fail to recognize the primacy of the principle of dharma. All right. So Arjuna says that you, Krishna, are capable of killing them all because Sri Krishna is divinity embodied. Arjuna has no doubt about that. And he continues, he says, Bhavantu, you are kirtiman loke. Throughout the world, you are kirtiman. You are the literally famous, but you are the one who is acknowledged throughout the world as Ishvara, as being the one who has all that power. Sarva Shaktiman is a word we use for that Ishvara. Now the significance of this is in the final line. Nicely said by Arjuna. He says, Tad yashaha, that fame, tvam, to you, Sri Krishna, gamishyati, will go. You will receive that fame. Now, what fame? Now, here you have to get the big picture. They're getting ready for war. Sri Krishna has just been chosen by Arjuna. Arjuna knows and feels very strongly that with Sri Krishna on his side, he will absolutely be victorious. So now Arjuna is thinking ahead, thinking to the end of the war, and thinking to emerging from the war victorious. So Arjuna, thinking himself to be victorious, will Arjuna think, I won, I am victorious. What does he say here? He says, when we win, O Krishna, the glory will go, tvam gamishyati, the glory will be yours. Already, Arjuna recognizes himself as nimitta matra. Sri Krishna uses that expression in the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna recognizes that he's a nimitta. He's merely an agent, merely an actor on this chessboard that will be the battlefield, and that everything is ultimately in Ishvara's hands. So Arjuna demonstrates here a tremendous insight, a tremendous maturity of understanding. He understands not only Sri Krishna's divinity, but he also understands that the war will be won not because of Sri Krishna's personal support, because Sri Krishna is Ishvara and everything is ultimately in Ishvara's hands. Leading to a final comment before I think we'll finish this chapter easily, right? Yes. Good. So, leading to a final point here, and that is, Sri Krishna knows a very fundamental principle of life, and that is, dharma always prevails. Wherever is Ishvara, there is dharma, and wherever there is dharma, there is absolutely victory. This needs to be explained. And in order to understand that, you need to go to a root meaning of the word dharma. The word dharma has many meanings. But if you go to the root of the word is dr, to hold or support. So dharma, in a most fundamental sense, is that which holds the world together, that which supports the cosmos. That which holds the world together refers to the laws of the cosmos. So from a very fundamental sense, dharma represents the laws of the cosmos. And the laws of the cosmos are such that the laws of the cosmos are such that what must evolve does evolve. That's a little obscure. Let me. It really is I've never made this connection. It's a connection between dharma and what philosophers call the teleological principle. I apologize for that word. Teleological means with reference to evolution, with regard to how things evolve in the future. That's what teleology is, a study of how things evolve, not in a Darwinian sense, but in a more philosophical sense. And what it refers to is an imperative in life for things to grow and evolve. There's a very fundamental principle here. If you were to ask me, Swamiji, what is the purpose of life? Which is a good question. It's a question that everyone has thought about a lot. And it's a question for which many of you have heard my answer. And in fact, actually, Puja Swamiji's answer with my commentary. So, Puja Swamiji, when asked, what is the purpose of life? Puja Swamiji would invariably say, the purpose of life is to live. Now that's not terribly helpful, which is why we require a commentary. So Puja Swamiji says, the purpose of life is to live. So then we ask a further question. What does it mean to live? And here comes a nice metaphor. To live like a plant or an animal. What does for a plant or animal to live, what do they do? Grow. A plant grows. So Puja Swamiji says the purpose of life is to live, and life means growth. Growth is what I called, with that very complicated term, growth is that teleological principle, the nature's urge to grow, to develop. This is an evolutionary principle, something built into the universe that leads towards growth. For example, in the birth of the universe, you've probably read a little bit about the Big Bang, there was nothing. Just a bunch of, in fact, particles didn't even exist yet. Then eventually the universe was just hot and dense. And then in time, the universe started to simmer down a little bit. And then some particles came. The universe could have stopped there, by the way, right? Imagine a universe just full of particles, which means not you and not me and not this planet, nothing but particles. But notice this theological principle, this urge in nature towards growth, towards development, evolution, and order. All of that is implied by this word dharma. All of that led to the universe becoming the wonderful place we know it to be. It led to the birth of you and me. And this is what it means to live is to grow, is to develop. This is a principle of dharma. which means in the world, if there is a principle, if there is something that threatens growth and development, this is really a challenging question. In the world, there are plenty of things that threaten growth and development. To give a very concrete example, terrorism. Terrorism, as we understand it, is absolutely a threat to not just to growth and development, but certainly to the growth of cultures and the development of societies. Terrorism is a threat. Now, the question somebody might wonder, who's going to win in the long run? Will the terrorists win, or will growth and development win? There's no doubt. We've been talking for the last 5 minutes about this urge in nature towards development, towards growth, and therefore any factor that opposes growth and development eventually has to be removed, will eventually die away. This is a universal principle. Philosophers call it theological principle. We call it dharma. It is the natural order of the universe to develop. And therefore, anything that stands in the way of development, like Duryodhana and terrorism, will definitely be knocked off, to use some casual language. I'll give a very practical example of this. Some of you know that viruses can infect a human body, and you can die from a virus. Except the virus is also controlled by this imperative towards growth. Look at this. This is something scientists have thought a lot about. If a virus, imagine a virus having a mind. They don't. If a virus has a mind, the virus says, I want to live, I want to grow, I want to develop, right? So the virus gets inside of your body. Think of this. The virus knows if it kills you, what happens to the virus? The virus dies. So if it's a smart virus, don't ask me what is a smart virus. If the virus is smart, it'll make you sick, but it won't kill you. Scientists have studied this and have shown that this is a demonstration of what I'm talking about, that theological principle, this urge in nature for growth and development. Now, to come back to our verse and to finish up our chapter, Arjuna knows that Sri Krishna represents dharma, that force of growth and development. Arjuna knows that if he is on the side of dharma, he cannot but win. And that's his thinking. If I am on the side of... First of all, Sri Krishna represents dharma. If Sri Krishna is on my side, Arjuna thinks, then dharma is on my side. And if dharma is on my side, I must win. And this is also Arjuna's thinking based... I don't know if Arjuna is thinking about all of his complex theological principle and all that, but Arjuna, in a very simple way, knows that if I am on the side of dharma, I cannot but win, and if Sri Krishna is on my side, definitely I am on the side of dharma. Okay, and just a final comment. We're going to finish the chapter now, but the final comment is a really encouraging message, and that is, in the long run, dharma prevails. Full stop. In the long run, which means in the short run, things can look pretty nasty. Think of when you get that virus. In the short run, it's trouble. But in the long run, the virus doesn't want to kill you. So in the long run, you will recover. in the long run, dharma will prevail. So whenever you see what looks like a really threatening problem in the world or in your life, you can trust that if you're patient, you will eventually see dharma prevail. Of course, we don't know when and how. It can sometimes take a long time. There's no time scale. We can't measure, we can't predict. But we know, because of this, this complicated word, theological principle, or in a simple way, this urge in nature towards growth, towards development, we know in the long run, growth and development, dharma will prevail. Okay, let's finish the chapter. Saratyam tu tvaya karyam, saratyam tu tvaya yati me manasam sada, yati me manasam chiraratrepsitam kamam, chiraratrepsitam tad bhavan kartum arhati, tad bhavan. In the second line, me manasam sada, it says, all in my mind, sada, continually, what's on my mind is what? Saratyam karyam tvaya. Saratyam is the condition of being sarati. Sarati means charioteer. So saratyam, the status of being a charioteer, karyam, should be done tvaya, by you. In English that sounds really bad. In Sanskrit it sounds really good. The status of being a charioteer should be done by you. Sounds good in Sanskrit. In English you'd say, it's been on my mind for a long time, O Krishna, that you should be my charioteer. That's how you translate it in English. This has always been on my mind. It is chira ratra ipsitam kamam. This kamam, this desire, is chira ratra ipsitam. I've had this desire for such a long time. It's been on my mind, this wish of mine. Tad bhavan, bhavan, you, tat, that, my wish, kartum arhati, I pray that you will fulfill my wish that you should become my charioteer. What an interesting thought. Arjuna has this in his mind. The one he looks upon as an embodiment of divinity should be his charioteer. We'll see the last verse and then see the symbolism associated with that. Vasudeva vacha, Vasudeva upapannamidam partha, upapannamidam yatspardhe tamaya saha, yatspardhe tamaya saratyam te karishyami, saratyam te karishyami kama sampadyatam tava, kama sampadyatam. Partha, O Arjuna, idam sampannam. This is appropriate. What is appropriate? That maya saha, along with me, spardheta, you should fight. It is appropriate that you should fight along with me, accompanied with me. This is appropriate. Saratyam te karishyami, I will become your charioteer. Tava kamaha, and your desire, sampadyatam, may your desire be fulfilled. Now, the symbolism of this, we've actually, long ago when we studied the Bhagavad Gita, we talked a lot about that symbolism. We'll just talk very briefly about it here at the end of our class. What Arjuna is doing, in a literal sense, is putting Sri Krishna in the driver's seat, nice American expression, in the driver's seat of his chariot. The symbolism is clear, isn't it? when you put Ishvara in the driver's seat of your life. What does that mean? We just, in the prior verse, we talked about Ishvara represents Dharma. So when you make the principles of Dharma, when you put the principles of Dharma, what does it mean to put Ishvara in the driver's seat of your life? It means to follow Dharma, to put Dharma in the driver's seat of your life, to make Dharma the guiding principle in navigating the byways of life. How will you navigate your way through this life? What will lead you to make your decisions? Turn left, turn right, do this, don't do that. What guides that decision-making process? If what drives that decision-making process is our own raga and dvesha, our likes and dislikes, we are doomed to a pretty difficult, miserable life. On the other hand, if that decision-making process in life is guided by Ishvara, means guided by the principles of Dharma. If we make decisions according to Dharma, figuratively speaking, putting Ishvara in the driver's seat of our lives, we will definitely be much more skillful in navigating the complexities of life to arrive at our ultimate goal. Ultimate goal, of course, is moksha. Not an ordinary goal at all. But that goal of moksha can only be achieved if you have the right charioteer, if you have the right if your life is being guided by the right principles, by principles of Dharma. We won't talk further about this because we've talked about it extensively in the context of the Bhagavad Gita. But what an important bit of symbolism that's so easy to overlook. The importance of Sri Krishna being Arjuna's charioteer. What a in the story, it fits perfectly because Sri Krishna says, I won't fight. Well, you can drive a chariot. Driving a chariot is not wielding a weapon. So in the story, it fits perfectly, and then the symbolism is absolutely brilliant. Who is guiding Arjuna on that battlefield? That constant, abiding source of guidance is none other than an embodiment of Ishvara. And that Sri Krishna then represents the guidance we receive in life when we turn to Ishvara in prayer and we choose to make our decisions according to principles of Dharma. Okay, enough said. That's it. That's a short chapter. We made it through the whole chapter. We will continue into the next chapter in our next class. And some brief announcements. Tomorrow, since we're in the midst of the holiday, this Thanksgiving holiday, we will not have any programs tomorrow. So satsang and meditation, teen classes, none of that will take place tomorrow. Library will be open after class, and we'll conclude with our prayers. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat.